Welcome to the Deep Fear channel. Watch closely, stay alert, and don't forget to subscribe. Story 1. The Man at My Window. I don't know if writing this will help, or if it'll just make me sound insane, but I need to get it out. If something happens to me, maybe someone will read this and understand. It started 3 weeks ago. I live alone in a one-bedroom apartment on the third floor of an older brick building. The place isn't fancy. Creaky pipes, thin walls, the constant hum of traffic outside, but it's mine. I'd always liked being alone until the night I saw him. It was just after midnight, and I was lying in bed scrolling through my phone, trying to ignore the headache from staring at screens all day. That's when I felt it, that subtle shift, the sense that someone's watching you, even though you're alone. I glanced at my window. At first, I thought it was a trick of the streetlight, a shadow, from a tree maybe. But then I saw it, a face, pressed against the glass, pale with wide, unblinking eyes. I froze. My apartment's third floor. There's no balcony, no ledge big enough for someone to stand on. Just open air and 3 stories down to the pavement. But the man's face was there, inches from mine. I scrambled back from the bed, heart hammering, and the face slowly, silently slid out of sight. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I convinced myself I'd been half dreaming, maybe seeing my own reflection distorted in the glass. I wanted to believe that. I needed to. But then it happened again. The second time was worse. It was a Wednesday night. I had just finished washing dishes when I heard something, a faint tapping sound. At first, I thought it was from the pipes, but it was too deliberate, too steady. I followed the noise, and when I stepped into my bedroom, my stomach dropped. He was there again. Same pale face, same wide eyes, staring through the glass like a child pressing against the window of a candy store. Only this time, his hand was raised, tapping a slow rhythm against the glass. Tap, tap, tap. I couldn't move. I just stood there, gripping the door frame until my knuckles went white. Then he did something that chilled me to the bone. He smiled. Not a normal smile. Not the kind you see on the street. His lips stretched too wide, his teeth bared, but his eyes never blinked. He held that awful grin as he tapped the glass, like he knew I couldn't look away. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911 with shaking fingers, whispering to the operator that someone was outside my window. The cops came within 15 minutes. They searched the area, checked the alley behind the building, even looked up at my window. Nothing. No ladder, no footprints, no sign anyone had been there. The officer gave me that look, the one that says they don't quite believe you, but don't want to call you crazy. He told me to keep my windows locked and call again if it happened. When they left, I checked the glass myself, and that's when I saw it. A smudge, right where his face had been pressed against the window, like an oily print, the faint outline of a nose and lips. Proof. That night, I didn't sleep again. I pushed my dresser against the window as if that would help, and stayed awake until sunrise. But the man, he wasn't done with me. By the third night, I was already paranoid. I kept every light on in the apartment, blinds drawn, and the TV running just for background noise. It didn't matter. At 2:14 a.m., the tapping started again. I was curled up on the couch, clutching a blanket, and the sound crawled into my ears like insects under my skin. Tap, tap, tap. I told myself not to look. If I didn't look, maybe he wouldn't be there. Maybe it would just go away. But I couldn't resist. My eyes drifted to the window across the room. And there he was. Not pressed against the glass this time. Not smiling. He was standing a few feet back, just barely illuminated by the sickly orange glow of the streetlight. His face was shadowed, but I could see his outline. He was tall, thin, his head tilted too far to one side, like his neck didn't work right. And he was pointing at me. I bolted into the kitchen and grabbed the biggest knife I owned. My hands were slick with sweat as I clutched it, my breath loud in my ears. When I worked up the courage to peek back into the living room, he was gone. I didn't sleep for the rest of the week. I called the landlord, begged for new locks, security cameras, anything. He brushed me off, said no one else had reported strange activity. It's probably kids messing around, he said. But kids don't climb 3 stories with no ladder. Kids don't stand outside your window in the dead of night, pointing at you like they're claiming you. By Friday, I was a wreck. I was surviving on coffee and adrenaline, constantly checking the windows, jumping at every sound. That night, I made a mistake. I fell asleep. It couldn't have been more than an hour, but when I opened my eyes, my blood ran cold. The tapping wasn't at the window anymore. It was at the glass door leading to my fire escape from inside. The sound froze me in place. Tap, tap, tap. It was softer now, muffled, like knuckles brushing glass from inside the apartment. My fire escape door was supposed to be locked. It was locked. I checked it every night. But when I turned my head, I saw him. The pale man was standing on the other side of the glass door, inside my fire escape. His face was pressed to the glass again, lips stretched into that too wide smile, breath fogging the surface. His hand rose and fell against it in that same slow rhythm. Tap, tap, tap. I couldn't breathe. Knife still clutched in my hand, I stumbled backward until I hit the wall. My first thought was to run. Out the front door, down the stairs, anywhere but here. But my legs wouldn't move. It was like his stare pinned me in place. Then, the lock clicked. I swear to God, I heard it. A soft metallic click, like the door unlatching on its own. The man tilted his head, smile widening. That finally broke me. I ran. I bolted for the front door, yanked it open, and sprinted down the hallway barefoot, my knife still in my hand. I didn't stop until I was outside on the street, gasping in the cold night air. People stared. A couple asked if I was okay. I must have looked insane, disheveled, barefoot, clutching a kitchen knife at 3 in the morning. I didn't care. I called 911 again, begging them to send someone. When the police arrived, they went through my apartment top to bottom. No broken locks, no forced entry, no one on the fire escape. The officer gave me that look again, the one that made my stomach twist. Maybe you're under a lot of stress, he suggested gently. They left. I wanted to scream, because I knew what I had heard, I knew what I had seen, and I knew he was still watching me. I didn't go back to my apartment that night. I stayed at a 24-hour diner until sunrise, nursing coffee that went cold an hour in. Every time the door opened, I jumped. Every time someone walked by the window, I felt my skin crawl. I couldn't tell anyone the truth. My coworkers already thought I was weird. My friends had stopped answering my texts weeks ago, back when I started talking about the man at my window. When morning came, I went back. The apartment was silent. Too silent. My dresser was still shoved against the window, the lock on the fire escape door still latched. The only sign anything had happened was the faint smear on the glass, like a palm print. I packed a bag, decided I'd stay with my sister for a few days, just until things calmed down. But when I opened the closet to grab my suitcase, something fell out. It was a photograph of me, sleeping. My stomach flipped. It wasn't just a candid from my social media or an old family picture. This was taken here, in my bedroom, recently. I could tell from the way the blankets were bunched. I dropped it like it burned me. There were more. Stuffed behind my shoes, under my laundry basket, wedged between the pages of an old book. Dozens of photographs, all of me, sleeping, eating, sitting at my desk. Some taken through the window, but some from angles inside the apartment. I couldn't breathe. I grabbed my bag and ran. I didn't lock the door, didn't look back. I made it to my sister's place across town. I didn't tell her the details, just that someone was bothering me. She let me crash on her couch. I thought I'd escaped. I didn't know yet that you can't escape something that isn't outside. You can't run from something you've already let in. I stayed at my sister's for 3 nights. No tapping, no faces at the window, no strange noises. I started to believe maybe it was all over. Maybe whoever it was had lost interest now that I'd left the apartment. On the 4th night, I woke up at 3:03 a.m. on her couch. Not because of a noise, but because of a smell. That damp, cold smell of my own apartment. I sat up. The room was dark except for the glow of the streetlights outside. My sister's cat hissed from under the table, its fur bristling. And then, from the kitchen, I heard it. Tap, tap, tap. I froze. Very slowly, I turned my head. He was standing in the kitchen doorway. The same pale man, impossibly thin, head tilted at that unnatural angle, eyes like holes in paper. He wasn't at the window anymore. He was inside. He raised his hand and pointed at me. That broke something in me. I bolted for the front door, yanking it open and stumbling into the hallway screaming. My sister came running out of her bedroom, terrified. By the time she flicked the lights on, he was gone. The only sign he'd been there at all was the wet, oily handprint on the wall, smeared right above where I'd been sleeping. The police came again. They didn't find anything. I never went back to my apartment. I never stayed another night at my sister's either. I've been moving from place to place for weeks now, but no matter where I go, it's the same. It always starts with the smell, then the tapping, then the man. He's not at the window anymore. He's closer now. He follows me from the inside. And last night, when I woke up in yet another motel bed, there was a photograph waiting on the nightstand. It was of me, sleeping. And in the background of the photo, just behind the curtain, a pale face pressed to the glass. Story 2, someone in my contacts. It started with a text message. At first, I thought it was just a wrong number. Unknown. Hi, I like your blue hoodie. You look good in it. I stared at the screen, confused. I was wearing my blue hoodie that night, but I was in my apartment alone. I hadn't posted any selfies. I hadn't been outside all day. I typed back cautiously, "Me. Sorry, who is this?" The reply came instantly. Unknown. You don't know me, but I know you. My stomach sank. My first thought was some stupid prank, maybe a scam, but something about it felt different, too personal. I blocked the number and went to bed, trying to shake it off. The next morning, I had another text from a different number, unknown. You should really lock your windows at night. I nearly dropped my phone. I had left my bedroom window cracked open because of the heat. That's when I realized this wasn't random. Someone was watching me. I slammed the window shut so hard the glass rattled. My heart was pounding. The whole day at work, I kept checking my phone, dreading another message. Nothing came. By the time I got home, I'd almost convinced myself it was just a coincidence. That night, at 11:47 p.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown. You look tense at work today. Why don't you smile more? I dropped the phone. Nobody at work even knew my number except my boss, and I hadn't seen anyone standing near me when I was on break. My hands were shaking as I typed, "Me. Stop messaging me. Who are you?" The reply came immediately. Unknown. Look in your contacts. I'm already there. I opened my contacts app, scrolling through the list. Family, friends, coworkers, nothing strange. Then, at the very bottom, a name I'd never seen before, HIM. I hadn't put it there. It had no number, just a blank contact card with a single note, watching. I deleted it. The moment I did, my phone buzzed again. Unknown. That was rude. I threw the phone on the couch, heart hammering. I turned my phone off, pulled the SIM card out, even wrapped it in tin foil like some paranoid freak. It didn't help. At 2:33 a.m., my phone turned itself back on. I swear on my life. The screen lit up all on its own. New message. Unknown. You shouldn't ignore me. I'm right here. I dropped it like it burned me. I hadn't heard anyone come in. The door was still locked. The windows were still latched. But then I saw it. A new photo had appeared in my gallery, taken seconds ago, of me, sitting on the couch, staring at my phone, from behind. My stomach turned to ice. I bolted up and spun around. No one was there. Another buzz. Unknown. You move funny when you're scared. That was when I called the police. The operator kept me on the line while a unit drove over. When the officers arrived, they searched the apartment top to bottom. Nothing. No signs of forced entry, no hidden cameras, nothing unusual. They told me to maybe take a break from my phone and left. But as soon as the door closed, my phone buzzed again. Unknown. They'll never find me. You already let me in. I almost threw the phone out the window. Instead, I grabbed my laptop, desperate to figure this out. That's when I noticed my webcam light was on. The tiny green light on my laptop camera glowed like an accusing eye. I hadn't turned it on. I yanked a sticky note off my desk and slapped it over the lens. My heart was pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. The chat window popped up on its own. A black screen, no name. Then white text appeared, one letter at a time. Him. You can't cover me. I slammed the laptop shut, pulled every plug, yanked the battery out. I even turned off the breaker to my apartment. Total silence. Total darkness. Then my phone buzzed. I hadn't touched it. Unknown. Lights don't matter. Doors don't matter. I'm already inside. I backed into the kitchen, grabbing the biggest knife from the block. My hands were trembling so hard, the blade rattled against the counter. Another buzz. Unknown. Behind you. I spun so fast I nearly fell over. No one. Nothing. Just the empty hallway leading to my bedroom. My phone buzzed again, this time with a photo notification. My thumb hovered, shaking. I opened it. It was a picture of me, standing in the kitchen, right now. But in the photo, over my shoulder, a tall, featureless figure was leaning out of the hallway. A silhouette, with no face, no eyes, just darkness. I dropped the phone. It cracked on the tile. Every hair on my body stood up as a voice whispered, inside my head, not in my ears, delete me. Delete yourself. My vision went black for a second. When it cleared, the hallway was empty again. My phone lay in pieces on the floor. Its screen was dark. I ran out of my apartment barefoot into the street. Didn't even lock the door. I'm writing this now from a library computer across town. I haven't turned my phone back on. Haven't gone home. But even here, even now, when I opened the browser, there was already a tab waiting for me. It said, HIM watching. And as I typed this, a new contact appeared on my email account. No address, no number, just a name, you. Story 3, The Passenger. I drive for a rideshare company. Not glamorous, but it pays the bills. Most nights are the same. Drunk college kids, late-night airport runs, couples arguing in the back seat. But 3 months ago, I picked up a passenger I can't forget. I don't think I'll ever be able to. It was a rainy Tuesday. I got a ping near the old part of town, close to where the factories used to be. No streetlights out there, just cracked pavement and shadows. The name on the app just said unknown, no profile photo. When I pulled up, a man was already standing on the curb. He didn't wave me down. He didn't move, just stood there, drenched in rain, until I rolled down the window. "You here for me?" he asked. His voice was flat, too calm. Yeah. Get in." He slid into the back seat. The first thing I noticed was how cold he was. The air temperature dropped the second he shut the door. My windshield fogged instantly. The app didn't give me a destination, just a blinking cursor where the address should be. "Where to?" I asked, trying to sound casual. He leaned forward, close enough that I caught the sour smell of wet earth. "Just drive," he whispered. I should have canceled the ride. I should have thrown him out right then. But my hands turned the wheel on their own, and I drove. The rain hammered against the windshield as I pulled onto the empty road. The GPS on my phone stayed blank. No route, no destination, just the pulsing blue dot of my car moving into nothing. The man sat perfectly still in the back seat. I couldn't see him clearly in the mirror. Every time I tried, the glass seemed to blur his features, like the reflection itself didn't want me looking at him. "Where exactly am I going?" I asked. Silence. After a few seconds, he said, "You'll know when we get there." I gripped the wheel tighter. My knuckles were white. We passed block after block of abandoned warehouses. No lights, no people. The kind of place you'd expect to dump a body. I was half ready to pull over and bolt when he spoke again. "You've been lonely, haven't you?" My stomach tightened. "Excuse me?" You drive around at night to feel less alone, hoping someone will sit in your back seat and make you forget. But when they leave, you're still empty. I didn't answer. I didn't want to. That's when I noticed the condensation spreading across the inside of my windows. Not fog from my breath, handprints. Dozens of them smeared along the glass. Too many for one man to make. My heart pounded. "All right, this ride's over. You need to get out." The locks clicked, all 4 doors, by themselves. And then, from directly behind my ear, though I could see him sitting in the back seat through the mirror, a whisper, "You pick me up. Now I'll never leave." I slammed the brakes. The car fishtailed on the wet road, tires screeching. When I whipped around, the back seat was empty. Rainwater dripped onto the upholstery where he had been sitting. The door hadn't opened. The locks were still down. But he was gone. I scrambled out of the car, chest heaving, scanning the empty street. Nothing but shadows and rain. I told myself to calm down. Maybe I imagined him. Maybe I was so tired I hallucinated the whole ride. Then my phone buzzed. A notification from the rideshare app. Trip completed. Thank you for driving with us. The screen glitched, flickering, and for half a second, his face flashed where the map should have been. I drove home that night with the windows down, rain soaking me, just to make sure I wasn't carrying anything in the car. But the next night, he came back. Not as a passenger this time. I was driving a young couple across town when I glanced in the mirror and saw him sitting behind them. Silent, smiling, his pale hands resting on the seatbacks, inches from their shoulders. They didn't react, didn't see him. Only I did. I nearly crashed, pulling over. The couple screamed at me, demanded a refund, stormed out. By the time I looked back, he was gone. That became the pattern. Every night, every ride, I'd catch glimpses of him in the mirror, reflected in a store window as we passed, his cold breath on the back of my neck when the heater was off. Always there, always watching, and always smiling. I stopped driving for the app, sold the car, thought that would end it. It didn't. He started appearing on buses, on trains, sitting across from me, at empty diners. Always silent, always smiling. No one else ever seemed to notice him. One night, I woke up in my apartment to the sound of a car engine idling outside. When I looked through the blinds, my old rideshare car was parked at the curb, the one I'd sold. The passenger door opened on its own, and he stepped out. His face was pale and soft, like wax left too close to a flame. His head tilted that same unnatural way, smile carved wider than it should be. He walked to my building door without touching it. It swung open for him. I backed into my bedroom, heart pounding, grabbed my phone to call for help. The screen lit up with a rideshare notification, "Your passenger has arrived." Then the lock on my apartment door clicked. He was inside. "I told you," he whispered, voice like static. "You picked me up. I'm yours now." I bolted for the fire escape, but the window wouldn't budge. It was like invisible hands held it shut. When I turned back, he was standing in the doorway, holding out something. My car keys. "Drive," he said. I don't remember leaving. I don't remember getting into the car. I just remember rain, the sound of my own heartbeat, and his voice from the back seat telling me where to go. We drove for hours out past the city, into the woods where the roads turned to dirt. The GPS stayed blank, just a pulsing dot moving into nowhere. Finally, he leaned forward, cold fingers brushing my neck. "This is where I get out," he said. I stopped the car. He opened the door, stepped into the trees, and disappeared into the dark. I thought it was over. But when I got home and checked my rideshare app, a new trip had already begun. My car was moving on the map without me. In the passenger field, where a name should be, it just said, "You." And now, every time I sit in any car, even as a passenger myself, I catch him in the rearview mirror, smiling, waiting. Because once you pick him up, he never really leaves.
So guys, that was today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. If you found it interesting, don't forget to hit that like button. It really motivates me to create more content like this. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so you never miss an update whenever I upload a new video. And of course, share your thoughts in the comments section. I'd love to hear your opinion about this viral video. Until then, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.